Hey YouTube land, Tech Andrews here doing another action figure review. And before I proceed, I just need to say that these reviews are intended for collectors over the age of 13 plus. So if you need to ask permission from parent or guardian, please do so. And today I'm reviewing the G.I. Joe Ram Cycle Weight Breaker. Now a big shout out to my buddy Tom Brooks, who sent me this. Now unfortunately, to save on shipping costs, he had to send it loose. He didn't send it in box, so I don't have the box to showcase, but as far as I know, it's the same style packaging as the other classified series. So it's this kind of blue packaging stuff. It's just in a larger version box, obviously, which houses both figure and bike. Now from what I can tell, there is some assembly required when you get this thing. It is interesting to note that there is some interesting options on this as well. So if I just move quickly on, I'll take the driver off the bike if I can. It's a bit cold over here, so hopefully the hands haven't got too stuck to the handlebars. So I'll go through the bike first, and then I'll go through the figure. So the bike, as far as I can tell, comes in a few parts because this whole section is separate. You do have a kickstand when you're not using this to balance out the bike, this extra sidecar piece, which has a familiar looking Gatling gun. Now on mine, I'm not sure if it's just because the way it was manufactured, or it's the way, just because it might have warped in transport. But you can see the Gatling gun is a bit out of shape, but there is a small permanent or small fix for this. So you get this really cool black version of the Gatling gun, and if you're thinking it looks familiar, then you would be right. This is the one that came with the third version, technically fourth version of Roadblock, which is the one that's more accurate to his comic appearance and the more classic style design. And just remember how to take off this. This barrel piece is actually separate. So if you have this machine gun or this mini gun, you can actually put that one in there and have a more green, olive drab green version of the Gatling gun for the sidecar of the Ram, if you want that. So that is an incentive to pick up that figure if you want to do that. It's a bit overkill just for one gun, but it just clicks together quite nicely. All the stickers and stuff are they're tampoed on. They're actually not stickers, they're kind of painted on, so you don't have to worry about applying stickers to the bike like you would with the original one, because the original one came with a whole bunch of stickers that you'd have to put on everywhere. So you have MG107 on the side, you have the 36, you have what looks like a little castle thing, you have the good old red, white and blue flag on the side, you have USA on the top of the cannon part. Flipping it around, you have the G.I. Joe logo, you have a toolbox kind of thing, you have a, or is it something cover, what does it say again, instrument cover on the back. So it's quite nice. You can put the kickstand down. It doesn't really stand without the kickstand, so there is that. These pieces are sort of separate in the sense that if you're forcing them, they will pop out and you should be able to pop them back into place again, so don't be too worried about that. The handlebars do move with the wheel, which is quite nice. Detailing wise, it actually has, looks like a kind of camouflage colored kind of thing, handlebars, which is kind of nice. Has readout dials for your speed and I'm assuming petrol gauge or electricity, depending on what way you want this bike to be running. I would imagine it's gas powered. The handlebars are quite nicely done because handlebars are actually on ball joints, so you can adjust them to the figure that you're putting on the bike. So when it first came, it was like this, and I thought, oh no, the thing had broken, or this overstressed in packaging. But no, these things are actually on ball joints, and you can actually adjust them to how you want the figure to sit on the bike, which is quite nicely done. There's props to Hasbro on kind of the forward planning on that one. Again, I'll just put it together with its sidecar piece. Now there is 2 plugs on the side. I'm not sure if you're seeing that there. Engine detail is quite nice as well. You have a hexagonal plug and a larger hexagonal plug, and they just fit in quite nicely. There's 2 foot pegs as well. Now you can fit 2 figures on this. I'll try and show that off as well when I get a chance. But onto the figure that you get with this. So for the most part, from what I can figure out, this guy is a reuse of parts. So if I just bring in his major donor, which is this guy. So his upper arms and lower arms are from Duke. His legs, if I recall, I think they're from the Cobra Viper, the Cobra Trooper. The boots are new as far as I'm aware. I don't think they're the same reuse of the Cobra parts. His torso, I can see a way of removing this web gear. It's permanently attached, but it does have the peg hole on the back of it. I did have, so if you have someone's backpack, say this is Beachheads, it will fit on there quite nicely. He does come with 1 removable accessory, which is his helmet, which has kind of a nice weird kind of 2-tone visor thing going on, and it has a microphone because Breaker was the communication specialist. He has a really cool head sculpt. I'm not sure if it looks like anyone in particular. I don't really get like any kind of, sometimes they model them after sort of actors or famous actors or people in the comic book industry that worked on the G.I. Joe thing. I'm not too sure if this one's based on anyone or it's just something they came up with themselves. But overall, he's quite nice. Now, he doesn't come with a gun, in the sense that, like, you can use the Gatling gun from the bike for him, but he doesn't have a pistol, a dedicated pistol or anything like that. Now, he should be able to hold any weapon from the classified line. This is the machine gun that came with the movie version of Baroness. The the Snake Eyes Origins version. So he can hold that. He can hold, just take it out of his holster, hopefully, without any issue. This is the pistol that came with Roadblock. He should be able to hold that easily enough as well. Just have to watch his finger on the trigger guard. So you can get him to hold most of the kind of standard weapons that came with the G.I. Joe figures. There might be some exceptions, but so as I have it here, let's try it. It should work with this, no problem. This is Duke's gun, and since these are the same hands that Duke has and same arms, you should hold it no problem whatsoever. Now, it is worth mentioning that the hinges on this hand, on these figures, haven't really been kind of corrected, if you want to say corrected. So his up and down is still on the right hand, and his in and out hinge is on the right hand, and the up and down is still on the left. So, like, most people tend to hold guns that way, whereas on this right hand they're like that. Articulation wise, he does have a waist swivel, which is a bit tight on mine. As far as I know, he has the butterfly joints in the arms. He has all the same kind of articulation as the classified series. He has upper bicep swivel, double joint elbows. He has a swivel on the wrist with the hinge, ball jointed head, which is a bit tight on mine, but he does have up and down movement. He does have the extra joint at the base of the neck, which doesn't really turn too much on mine, which isn't too much of a bad thing, because I've had figures where the whole neck joint turns and just looks really out of sight or unsightly. He can do the splits that much. He can kick forward. He can bend his knees with the dual knees. He has the boot swivel. He has the boot articulation, and all that helps him for sitting onto the bike. He doesn't have any really extra pouches or gadgets or anything that will get in the way of him riding the bike, which is handy enough. So he does fit on the bike quite nicely. He can hold the handlebars as seen in the start of the video. Now, it might be a bit hard for me to do it on screen with the camera in the way. I can get him to hold on the bike, and he sits quite nicely on it. He does fit into the peg holes if you want, but if you don't want to, if you want to be able to fit 2 figures on the bike, it's kind of handier to push him up a bit forward. And because I had her on the bike earlier, I'm going to bring in Scarlet. She's a bit thinner than some of the other figures, so she can get her feet down behind. If I just rotate the ankle up the right way, she can get her feet down behind the block for the for the Gatling gun. You can take it off altogether if you want and just have them on the bike without it, but you can get her to kind of do a cool 2-person pose on the bike while firing. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any sort of safety protection for their head, for the helmet, but there is that. And let's just see if Duke will fit on the bike as well at the same time. Possibly not. His legs are a lot more chunkier than Scarlet's. I'd say he'll probably have a harder time. Yeah, someone slimmer with slimmer style legs will fit on no problem. You can fit them on the bike without breaker on it, if I can get him off. Come on, off we go. Now, just get his leg into a more seated position. So you can get them to sit on the bike, no problem. Unfortunately, my guy is being a bit fidgety at the moment. His legs are a bit cold from where he's been stored, so the joint is a bit, it's a plastic joint, hip joint, just like with some of the other figures, but he can fit on the bike if you want them to. Overall, most of the figures will fit there, no problem. So it's a really cool set. I think it's a Target exclusive. I could be wrong. I'm almost certain it was a Target exclusive, along with Barbecue, and I think there was one other figure was a Target exclusive this time around. But I have done a review for Barbecue, if you check back through my videos. But overall, it's a really good set, and I do recommend picking it up. The only downside is Breaker's kind of lack of gear, in the sense that, like, the original figure had a whole kind of communication. Well, he didn't actually really have a communication backpack, but he had like a actual weapon, and I think he came with like some extra. He came with some actual weaponry as opposed to the one that just you're supposed to use for the bike. I don't think the original Ram cycle came with a specific driver, unless you consider the Action Force version, which came with the exclusive colored version of Scarlet. So there is that. Quarrel came with the original Action Force version of the Ram cycle. So you have that. It's just him just getting the stand. Just move the bike back, move them back, getting the stand together. So you see them, how well they go together. I'll bring in Roadblock in a second. And I'll get Scarlet back into a more neutral position. Come on, Roadblock. Get your feet into the right stance so you can actually stand. And bring in Scarlet as well. Unfortunately, it's very cold over here, and I feel the atmospherics is messing with the joints. So there we go. Just bring in Scarlet, and I won't bring out anyone else because there's no one else really near me that I can bring over. But there you go, guys. There's a quick video review for Breaker and the Ram cycle. As I said, unfortunately, I don't have the box for this one, so I can't showcase the kind of file card stuff and the actual back of the box. But overall, it's a really good set, and I do recommend picking it up. And thanks again to Tom for sending me this and picking it up for me and sending it to me. So I hope you enjoyed this video review, and as I say in my videos, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Cheers, guys.